What the heck? I don't understand Twitch yet. I think I spent an hour talking to myself and it produced no content whatsoever. Who's out there? Is anybody out there? Who is out there? Is this even going? Is this being broadcasted? I don't know. Looking up to see what the heck is going on here. Okay, it does appear that 3 minutes ago it says that I've gone live. Yesterday, it did not go that well, I don't think, either. Yesterday, whenever I tried to do a live stream, it was very spotty. It won't even allow me to click on this. Let me play it. Will you not play it? Won't allow me to even choose my own video. But the microphone was completely shitty. I think I might have fixed that. Who's gonna join me? Who's out there? Who's hanging out? Saw a flicker there. Saw a flicker. Let me see. Yesterday, I tried to go live and play, and the sound was pretty horrible in my opinion. It's not working out that well. Let's see. Oh, Pragmatic Crystal, what's up? Good evening. I just spent an hour talking to myself, thinking it was recording, and it turned out that I was wrong. I was over on Twitch thinking that I was broadcasting to Twitch, and that did not happen. Like, I produced zero content over there. It's funny because I sat there and I like talked. I like really like kind of opened up and started talking, and I just talked to myself. Although I guess it wasn't bad because I went over information that I am studying, so kind of help push it back there even more further. Oh, that's all right. But I am going to start uh, streaming to Twitch as well on Thursdays. I'm gonna try to make it to where it's a nightly thing at 8 o'clock. That's Central Time Zone. Um, I want to try to share that I'm streaming over to Facebook. Maybe I'll be able to get some other people to join us. And we can get a conversation going. Hey, look, and I'm gonna do this too. So we can let friends in. Make this. Yeah, I'm not sure about Twitch. I'm really not sure about Twitch. It's not very like just plug and play and let me go live and press this button. Hey, now you're live and um, but through StreamYard it made it to where I could go on there. I've just started playing with StreamYard. I've got an account set up with it now as well. So you can do that and um, we can find some other people to join us and hang out. Yeah. Um, I consider myself pretty tech savvy. Like, I have a pretty good idea of the components that make up the computer, and um, I've grown up with them basically, so I have a decent understanding of it, but sometimes it's not always very clear exactly. And that's the problem I'm having with Twitch is it's not very uh, clear about how to work it. Let's see if I can share this with Facebook. I'm gonna share this here. It's gonna happen right now. I'm gonna make a post right here. Boom. So maybe we can get some other people and get a chat going. Oh, you're cooking? Oh, right on. Cooking is fun. I've been getting into that. I've gotten some dishes down that I'm very proud of. Like my pizzas are like really good. I make the sauce. I've learned how to make Alfredo sauces. I make a tomato sauce. I like making pastas now too. I'll even roll it out with the rolling pin. I don't need no machine. I roll it out and I'll cut it up and make some spaghetti. Throw some sauce on top of there and do some cook a meat. Although I think I'm gonna make another attempt at being vegan. I think I'm still going to enjoy eggs and cheeses, but I think I'm gonna try not eating meat again for a while. I've been noticing my appetite has changed, and I I've dropped to only having one meal in a 24-hour period, and it like I don't experience the feeling of hunger. I'm not getting hungry uh, 2 or 3 times in a day. Like I I really only if I like try to go a full 24 hours, I will only get hungry that one time in the evening, and I eat once and I'm fine. And I have the energy to do things and work out and do things like that. But yeah, just gonna hang out here. I guess I'll go back over this here again because it's something I can talk about. The It has become an interest of mine to understand well-being and how to achieve, a good well-being. You know, be able to have the most happiness that I can possibly have. Because it is not, and it's an unreasonable expectation to think that a person can be happy all the time and be positive all the time. Um, Although I do think most of the time I am in a positive. I have more of an optimistic view on life. My perspective is not uh, all that negative. Like I see society getting better, not necessarily worse. Although there are still things that are very problematic and you need attention. I still see it as getting better. Like here and now, like I've been alone, and I've been alone for now for weeks. It's been a while since I've had anybody near me, but because of technology, I can get in touch with friends, and Pragmatic Crystal just joined me and interacted with me, and in those moments, I don't feel the loneliness. It is something that has enhanced life, I think, is our technology. But like for this happiness lab, this science of the well-being, one of the things that they went over is hedonic adaptation, and hedonic adaptation is whenever you have something that's a material thing that you become used to it, or food, you can experience hedonic adaptation. If you have a huge plate of your favorite food. Oh, awesome! You're on Discord. That's cool. I am going to be trying to expand my social media and get out there more. Um, but I do have an account set up for Discord. I just haven't been on it here for a while. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely like another one. I want to get set up is TikTok. I've been influenced. I've had somebody here recently telling me that I should really set up a TikTok account and also make sure that my content is getting put out there on that as well. Um, but this hedonic adaptation is where you have something that's awesome and you get used to it, and it doesn't hit the pleasure center as much as it did as whenever you first got it. And like um, this guy named Dan Gilbert, who talks about hedonic adaptation, he's a scientist. He says a new car sticks around to disappoint you, but if you get a trip to Europe, it is over and it only leaves you with the memory. And um, when they're talking about this hedonic adaptation, like getting a material thing, you don't get as much happiness out of it as if you were to get something that would give you an experience, like going on a trip to Europe or something like that, or just going to a trip that's locally and finding a place and having a new experience. Those tend to give us more pleasure than having material items. Like a car, you get it and it's really cool, especially there in the very beginning. But as you have it, it goes through a state of degradation and there's maintenance that goes into it. Sometimes they can start having problems. Oh, let's see. Dan Gilbert believes then Dan Gilbert believes that in our ardent lifelong pursuit of happiness, most of us have the wrong map. Yeah, and that's what this class that I've been a part of on Coursera. I'm in the fifth week of it, and that's something that has been a main point about is that our minds lie to us to what will really be to what will really make us happy. The same way that optical illusions fool our eyes and fool everyone's eyes in the same way, Gilbert argues that our brains systematically misjudge what will make us happy. Yes, we have miswanting. We want things that you think it's going to bring you happiness, but in the end, it won't. Yeah, I do agree that your environment and your situations all have a big role in a person's happiness. And you are in control of situations in most cases. We have the power to change things. I agree. I really do. And that's exactly what the class has been teaching. The teacher is Lori Santos, and she's a teacher that is at Yale. Um, she was at one point in time like ahead of a part of the Yale, but I think she has stepped down since then. But I've really enjoyed the class. It has brought um, ideas and concepts to me that I was unaware of until recently, until I took the class. Yeah, and you get that new car, and it's gonna cause problems. It's gonna end up having a point to where it can become frustrating. But if you buy an experience, you buy a trip, you purchase a way to travel to somewhere new, that will bring you more happiness because it leaves you with the memory, and every time you have a memory of it, it will hit your pleasure centers and be like, oh, you know, this was something that brought me a lot of happiness, and you get to kind of experience again, which I think is pretty cool. Another thing they're talking about to enhance the happiness is savoring, and um, which is not exactly a new concept to me, although I didn't really practice it. It wasn't something I practiced. If it enforces positivity in your life, it is worth it. Yes, I do. I want to have well being. I want to be one of those people who gets to have a long life, and I want the quality of that life. I mean, of course, if something became such an ailment that was so painful, and I was literally in pain and miserable every day because of that physical pain, it would probably change my perspective on it. But I mean, I would like to experience life as long as I can possibly can. I'm not against being 90 or even making it to be 100. Um, I'm becoming ever more used to being alone a lot more and just being okay with that. Um, but I also do know that um, what helps with achieving that well being is having good, meaningful relationships, um, which I have been making contact and keeping up with people from my past. I have three friends that are from like way back, and one of them is from whenever, I mean, like knee high, like back from when we're before kindergarten. Hey Theo, good evening. It has been a while, Theo. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for saying hello. It has been a while. I've just been talking about this. You think I'm muted? I don't I don't think I'm muted because I have been talking with Pragmatic Crystal. It seems she has been following what I have been talking about. I think it's on your side. And I also did do a test. I did do a test to make sure that it was picking up my audio. But yeah, um, the act of savoring is like something I have been practicing one with every meal that I do have, like taking a moment to like really taste the flavors of the meal. And one way I practice it every day is with my cup of coffee. Like whenever it comes to making my espresso, I'll make a latte, or I'll prepare it differently in order to change the way that it tastes, and sit there and savor it and really be mindful of the flavors and the textures of it, and savor that cup of espresso in the morning. Like I've been drinking a a light roast, and it is extremely acidic. Like just drinking a cup of that as an espresso shot, it almost has a bite to it. It has a very fruity, acidic kind of flavor to it. It has a bite to it. It gets me right in the back of my neck. But having activities that enhance savoring and really think about how it feels. And another way to like practice savoring is look for other people to share your experience with, um, the said experience. Um, but yeah, savoring is one way to get those positive thoughts going. Um, Another way to like enhance the well-being is gratitude. I did turn down my volume a bit because I was planning on also playing my guitar too, and I didn't want to get too loud. Oh, see, I'm hardly hitting it right now. Am I too quiet? I can up it that way. Hello, hello. I should max it out, and then that way, whenever I'm just sitting here talking, then I put it on max volume. That way, it will. I think it should be a bit louder now. Yeah, I've been talking about this, the science of well-being. That is what I have been talking about since I've started this stream. And what I had first started talking about was hedonic adaptation, and also the savoring as another thing, another concept of being able to enhance your life to achieve a better well-being. But yeah, whenever I first started talking, I was talking about hedonic adaptation, and how we get used to things. You know, like you get a new car, and at first it's really cool, but then after a while, that car can start to have problems, and it can, um, its coolness factor kind of starts to wane. It's not as cool as it was whenever you first got it, and it can start to even have problems to where you start thinking it's not that cool anymore. It's time to get another one. But the other thing I was talking about was savoring, and the taking time to really savor moments and be in the moment whenever um, whenever you're eating something or experiencing something. Like, be in the moment of that. It's interesting. We never stay as excited as we're at the beginning. Yeah, and what the, um, and one thing that they were saying with this hedonic adaptation is that um, having stuff doesn't make us as happy as it does whenever we are we purchase experiences. Good evening, John Hudson. Hello. Good evening. And I put the link out there if y'all want to join. I will let y'all join. I'm gonna put it back out there again. Yeah. And um makes you cherish more the ups and downs, since you can't only be on top. And see, that's the other thing too, is that I've definitely realized through this course is that definitely not gonna always be happy, and setting the expectation to always be positive and to always be happy is an expectation that, you know, if you are a person that thinks that, you're not going to really ever really achieve that. And there is a lot of gurus out there who are just like that. You know, think positive, you know, think positive thoughts and make positive things happen, and you can manifest destiny, and you just got to think positive. But another thing that this got into, well, I don't even have to, like, there is a woman who does, oh man, I can't remember her name, but I'm just gonna speak off the top of my head. Um, she has done this collection of scientific data, and has made a way to achieve your goals, and it's not through always thinking about the positives. There's an acronym that she ended up making up called WOOP, WOOP, and it's making a wish and the outcome of it, but also taking the time to think about the obstacles that, you know, can get in your way, and um, not to just sit there and think about the positive things and being like, oh, this is, I want to make this thing happen, and how wonderful it's going to be whenever you make this thing happen. Um, and like taking time to think about the obstacles and then coming up with a plan for whenever you get you have those moments to where you're trying to make what you wish come true, you're trying to make your dreams come true, planning for the obstacles that could possibly get in your way, and not sitting there thinking about all the positive things is a good thing to do. It will help you achieve your goals, and there's scientific data that backs it all up. I'm pretty sure I will, because I am going through like my little journal, and I'm kind of saying all this stuff to kind of help it like digest it, and then also I need to put it into practice. It's like knowing these things aren't going to make it to where it's going to make an impact on my life. I have to be able to put them into practice. And John, you say my positivity comes from partaking in the consumption of herbs and fungi, and there's a part of this that gets into that too. They look at the science of having, trips, and there is some they are studying the science on that and how it can like um, create well-being. And in that same when they're in that particular course topic, it they did make it very clear that it's not for everyone. There's a lot of people too. There is a percentage of people that take fungi, they take some psilocybin, and then it um, has negative effects to where they don't want to ever experience that ever again. I personally have eaten a whole bunch. I'm so familiar with psilocybin that if I encounter it in the wild, I know. I am so confident in my knowledge of that mushroom that I could pick one today and know it is the correct one. Um, I've eaten the shit out of some mushrooms. I'm telling you what. Um, yeah, it's like kind of like a reset. Hit a reset button, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's because um, the self-reflective part about it, you having those moments where you can get introverted and you rethink about things that about your past, and you know how you want to do better, and people often come out on the other side of it, and you can feel more positive about life. Yeah, when the rain comes, you got that right. Mexican, they can do some things. I I love Mexico. I'm whenever I hear people talk about like the putting up the border wall and all that, and like being like trying to create space between us and our brothers further south from us, it drives me crazy because one, not only do I thoroughly enjoy their culture, I love the people, I love the cuisine, the land over there. There's some places there that are just freaking beautiful. And they also produce a shitload of coffee. A lot of coffee comes out of there. And I love coffee. And, like, I would never want to make anybody from of the Hispanic descent ever feel any kind of like inhospitality. I would always want them to feel welcome to come over here, and so we can also go over there. It's like, yeah, we're, you know, you think it's all bad going one way, but I don't know, that kind of ideology just doesn't really jive with me all that well. Yeah, El Paso is a place in Texas I have not been yet. It's crazy. I haven't even explored all of Texas yet. There's so much I have to really check out. Um, but yeah, one way of like getting it to where you can achieve a better well-being is through gratitude. You know, doing um, gratitude list to where you write down things that you're grateful for and also expressing it to other people. Dave, good evening, Dave. Howdy, good evening. Hello, hello. And I have put the link out there. I've put it out there if anybody wants to join and just hang out for a bit. Um, more than welcome. Um, I won't be taking anybody that I don't know. I haven't ever interacted with. Um, but y'all three, y'all four, if Pragmatic Crystal is still here, y'all are all welcome, definitely, to come join. Although I understand if you also got other things going on too. Yeah, but showing like gratitude is something that helps build the positivity, have positive emotions. You know, it was one of the practices that I had started doing um, a while back. Whenever I was I was pretty depressed, and just stopping and start thinking about things that I could um, that would make me have positive thoughts. Because the problem with depression for me, my experience of it was that I had intrusive thoughts, and those bothered me like that. And then allowing myself to like continue thinking about those intrusive thoughts, and it just kind of like put my mood in a bad place. Put my mood to where I wasn't um, happy. And damn it, forget all that. I really want to feel good about myself and my life and where I'm going, and just talking to myself about things that I could be grateful for was a trick to help me uh, stop thinking about the intrusive thought that I would have. But yeah. And time affluence, like people who value your time, like, and making sure that you're giving yourself free time is important. To not like always be at work at something, and um, over packing your schedule to the point where you're not giving yourself enough time to, basically stop and smell the roses. You need to give yourself time to where you will be able to hang out with some friends, talk with people, and just have, you know, light conversation, or be able to take a nap or whatever, and you know enjoy the enjoy life. Having, like, people that value their time are much happier than people who value money over time. And there's scientific data that supports this. There are millionaires and billionaires who pay for therapy because they're unhappy with their lives, and they've got billions of dollars. And at the time of whenever this course was all like put together, this they were saying that like around $70,000 a year is like a very decent um, financial income to have. And then wanting anything else over that, you're not really going to achieve any more well-being. You're not going to achieve any more happiness. Oh, good night, John. Yeah, give me a call if you need. If you would like, I'll be around. Um, but time of affluence, how you valuing your time to be able to go sit and just even like meditate and just like focus in on your breath, just giving yourself some of that kind of time. Another thing they're saying that helps with well-being is being mindful about the mind wandering that you do. Um, and they know this to be true because of, I I don't know if it's called CT scans or MRI scans, but they did a collection of data where they were looking at the images of the brain, how it, and the information that they got back from those, from people who just allowed themselves to let their mind wander on whatever. and to those who were experienced meditators and kept their focus in on something. And it doesn't even matter what you focus in on. um, it can be a piece of music, it can be what you're cooking, or even as something as simple as focusing in on your breath and meditating. Just as long as you keep your focus in on things, this is supposedly will bring you more uh, happiness and well-being. Allowing yourself to just oh, look at that. Heck yeah.
Tobin, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I wonder if I'm gonna cause an echo if here. Maybe I should plug in this so that doesn't get picked up on my mic. Let me see. How are you doing?
I got a flannel shirt on. Yeah, the day before yesterday we had the AC on, so welcome to Ohio.
Yeah, I'm already. I'm really. Wait. Oh, I have these on backwards. I can't wait for the fall time to come.
I like the summer, but yeah, I like some summer. I mean, some days when you can be out and enjoy it. And I mean, it was cool today, so it was nice, but some summer days, where it's not too hot, but you can still go swimming and do all the summer things. This pushing 100, and then tonight it's supposed to be like in the 50s, so it's like that's Fahrenheit for those of us that live in the backwards United States. But so yeah, it's yeah, very very odd, especially for July. I mean, it's like fall like weather today, so it's really weird. Don't put away
Yeah.
your flannel. Don't put away your flannel shirts in Ohio.
Yeah, and the West is supposedly they're getting a blast of heat. The way the jet stream is working, they're getting all that gnarly heat right now. While y'all are experiencing the cooler temperatures, I think it's even made it cooler for us as well too over here in Texas.
You probably needed a break.
Yeah, that storm got really nasty. Like I'm off the coast quite a bit. I'm give or take about 3 or 4 hours from the coast now. And when that tropical storm hit, it it was knocking trees over. There was all kinds of. I've been picking up tree limbs and stuff here. Um, it got pretty gnarly over here, and the electricity got knocked out. We're out of electricity for quite a while, and from what I read this morning, there are still people here in Texas who are without power because of that storm.
And that's the worst part.
Mm.
You go through all that, and then you don't have any power on top of it. You can't do anything, and yeah, it's a double whammy for sure.
And all that food going to waste in the refrigerators. Oh,
You know,
man.
we don't have much of a problem here in the city, but we had one time back in been a few years now, but yeah, it went so long that I got a chest freezer in the garage, for extra storage, and yeah, everything in there kind of got all questionable, and it's like, nah, no, it ain't worth it. So yeah, you throw it all in the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Or
personally don't take many chances on eating food that's past the expiration date.
yeah, the older I get, the more my stomach is, not as tough as it used to be. The last thing I need to eat is something questionable.
Mm,
Put you down, but quick.
yes. Yes, it will.
But otherwise, you survive the storm, okay, though. Eh?
Yes, I was alright. And I have different things that can make it to where it's not that bad for me. Like I have little canisters of propane and butane, and then also I have solar gear. So I have it pretty good. It, you know,
Are those on your
as far as
list?
that, huh?
You got those on your list?
I have those things. Like I have an extra stove and stuff. I can go
No, I
cook
mean,
outside.
I meant your thankful list. Yeah. Are,
Oh
are you
yeah,
are you thankful for propane?
yes,
Propane and propane accessories.
yes.
I'll tell
That
you what.
I can be very thankful for those things for sure.
I'm glad you're all right then.
Uh,
I know I heard a lot of people down in Texas were chiming in that they were without power, and a couple of them that do their YouTube and stuff. It's like, hey, it's going to be a few days. So
And it's turned into weeks now.
that's rough.
Oh man, it really can be, especially at this point in time. Like it the heat and being able to try to sleep in this kind of temperatures sucks. Hey, what's up, Pragmatic Crystal? Glad you could join us in again.
Hello, Crystal.
I wish it's true that you enjoyed your meal.
Crystal's got a lot of videos that make me hungry.
Heck yeah.
Cooking
That
up
is something
some kind of feast down there.
that definitely would put a smile on my face. Still cooking. Letting it simmer, getting a nice simmer going. I made some orange candies from some natural oranges, squeezing the juices and using that in order to make like a taffy. Um, that is one of my latest things that I have played around with.
Nice. I was just watching the saltwater taffy YouTube video. A lot of those places still use the same old machinery. It hasn't changed for all these decades.
That is one I have not tried yet. And now that you put it in my wheelhouse, I'm probably going to be checking that out because saltwater taffy is pretty damn good. I do enjoy me some of that. I have in the past.
That was always the staple when we would leave the amusement park. The last thing you did before you left the park was you hit the saltwater taffy and you got yourself some taffy to take with you to go home with, because you didn't want to buy it and walk around the park with it. It'd be a big sticky mess. But yeah, in the evening, as you're headed out, there was always a line at the taffy places to load up for the ride home. Then you have a good sugar rush too. So it's a nice soft taffy. It's usually fresh and everything. So that's the best. It's when it's nice and soft. You don't want it getting a little stale and hard. Kind of ruins the taffy buzz. So what did you do? You just melted it up on the stove and then pulled it around into pieces, or
Yeah, I just added a little the white sugar and the confectionery sugar, and a little bit of heavy cream and some butter too. I did the same thing, making a caramel, and just sit there and you stir it until uh, it's like you got to catch it before it starts burning, but like it basically becomes less watery, and then it won't be sticking to the pot. And whenever you stir it, it can become more like a gooiness, and it definitely, whenever you like pull it up, you can start telling that it won't drip as much. And yeah,
I know
it is really good.
there's that moment. I did a little caramel and stuff like that before too. And, yeah, you got to be right on it. Don't don't walk away. Just
No, don't.
one stir short, and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I have burnt some, and not only does it smell really bad, but that flavor is horrendous. I've tried to eat some of the burnt caramel, and it is horrible, and it smells up the house too. Very unpleasant.
But the orange turned out good, huh?
Yes, I will definitely be doing that again. Doing it just like a roux. A roux is just where you're using um, butter and milk or a heavy cream,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's that you have to stir it and just right, and the temperature has to be just right. And that's one of those things that grandma can do without thinking about it, and you got to try 10 times to even get close.
So whenever I make a gravy, because that's how I make a gravy is using flour and oil. Really, I'm making a roux. Is that it?
Pretty much, yeah. Adding flour is pretty much a roux. I usually use a little cornstarch when I want to make some gravy. I'll take the drippings and a couple of spoons of cornstarch, and then I use that browning sauce. Put just a few drops, because that stuff's potent. A couple drops of the browning sauce, and mix it all up in the pan. Makes a nice little gravy.
I don't know about the browning sauce. I haven't used that yet. Although I do know about the cornstarch that
And
thickens up things.
yeah. So I'll say about anything you want to make. I do the um, like a white gravy, or for pasta or whatever, similar thing. A lot of people prefer the flour. I learned doing it with cornstarch, so that's how I do it.
Broquette? I'm unfamiliar with this word. I'm going to look it up.
think if you have any type of stuff, your drippings or whatever, and you mix it up, you're basically making a roux. Just, there's so many. Oh, that's a browning agent. Okay. I'm not sure what the name of mine is. It just says browning sauce on the. Got a yellow label. It says browning sauce, and it's just a little bottle, like a little bottle of vanilla. And yeah, literally a couple drops, and it'll turn a whole pan of drippings into a nice color, and it's got a nice flavor. The mistake I made one time was I put it in, and it doesn't show up right away. Right, it'll be real light in color, but don't be fooled and add more, because that's just going to make it terrible. Let it, as it cooks, the color will come back. And yeah, I get a nice gravy.
Right on.
So, yeah, Crystal says, yeah, it sounds like the same thing. Yeah, it's probably it's the one that's in all the stores, so I'm sure it's if it's not the same name, it's the same thing. But because the cornstarch leaves a little bit of that taste, right? So you put those couple of drops in there, and it helps, balance it all out. It doesn't taste like cornstarch. And you only need, depending on what you got, a teaspoon or two of cornstarch. So it's you're not using a lot.
Yeah, I never really use very much. I usually use a teaspoon, and then I mix it in some room temperature water, and then I'll pour it into my sauces to thicken them up.
Don't put it right into the hot water. You get a big glob.
yeah, and trying to break that up. Yeah, I have done that one before.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work very good that way.
It's learning lessons. That's when my boys are growing up and stuff, and I always told them, hey, you don't have to be a chef or anything, but you need to know how to do basic things and cook for yourself. So they always learn to do things, and every once in a while, things get screwed up, and I always tell them, hey, everybody that cooks screws stuff up. That's how you learn. And even when you go from kitchen to kitchen, oven to oven, stove to stove, you've got to adjust your temperatures and everything, so there's even when you've done things for years, I got a new stove, and it seems to be a lot hotter in the top, so my bread got a little dark brown on top, right? So it's like, oh, okay, so I gotta back the temp off a little bit and make sure it's on a lower rack, but so yeah, even after all these years, you can still have some, oops, almost burned it, right? But
yeah,
that stove does kick, though, I'll tell you. Like my son was saying, it does get hot. I mean, when it says 350, it's 350. You know what I mean? Some of these ovens now, they don't really seem to kick, but this one we got, it's hot. So.
Right on.
And I like to cook. It's always best when you make it yourself, especially when it's grilling season. You can't beat almost anything on the grill. Even some of the oddball things Crystal might catch in a net down there. You throw it on a grill, I'd probably eat it.
Heck yeah. I do agree with that. That is for sure. Or smoking one, yeah. The old smoker. I haven't had one for some years, but I have had two of them in my past, and I loved smoking a brisket or some ribs or even the burgers. One of my buddies had one of the smoker grills that had little itty bitty pellets, and he would buy these pellets, and it just gave a very constant heat and smoke, and things he would pull off that smoker. That was delicious. It's good stuff.
I know a few people have had the pellet smokers, especially if you're doing stuff for a good long smoke. Yeah, you don't. It's kind of automatic. So you can walk away a little more. I've just got the good old side smoker on mine, so I gotta put it in by hand.
Yeah, that's the type that I have the most experience with. Yeah.
We can add that to the list too. We are thankful for barbecue.
We definitely got some gratitude for the barbecue.
Oh, just the simple things, a hot dog or a hamburger. Yeah, it's so much better than baking it or boiling it or anything that you do in the off season. It just every time, my wife loves hamburgers on the grill, so it's like hamburgers, and it's like no argument there. So, and yeah, you make up a couple of patties, you throw it on the grill. It's quick, it's easy, and it's just there's just no comparison to a burger joint or anything, unless it's a barbecue joint or something. Oh, it's a world of difference, a world of difference.
And I can taste the fake smoke, that liquid smoke. Like, I do not like that stuff, and I can tell the difference whenever people use that versus having a pit that actually really, you're really smoking the meat.
Yeah. Well, some things are kind of a cheat, and I would just rather wait, like up here, let's say when it's cold out in the wintertime, I'm not going to stand out there and grill, it just takes all the fun out of it. So I always say there's a plenty of dishes to have in the off season, you know what I mean? So when it's cold, we're having chili and soup and all that kind of stuff, and lasagna, stuff that you can bake in the roast, things that you want to cook in the oven for a while, because it warms the place up nice. The kitchen's nice and warm and everything, and I can wait for a nice real smoke when the season hits. So
Heck yeah.
there's just like, I don't like chili in the summer, and every year here they have the chili cook-off in the middle of summer, and it never made sense to me. Why don't you have the chili cook-off in the middle of winter when everybody needs a nice hot bowl of chili to warm up,
Yeah, that's like one of the last things that is on my mind during the summertime for a meal. Is it chili? No
Yeah.
way.
No. Yeah, I want like potato salad or something,
Yeah.
a nice summer dish, Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So where you at on your list? Did you get through your list there on what you were talking about?
Oh, I was just going through some
I didn't want to throw you
things.
off or anything.
Oh, I'm just here really to get some social interaction. I'm not really trying to achieve a certain goal. I'm just was using this to help me give something to talk about while
Right
I
on.
was waiting for others to possibly join me. And that really does. I really do appreciate y'all that you've came by and said hello. I
I like
appreciate that. Thank
I
y'all.
like hanging out with you, man. It's all good.
Likewise. Heck yeah.
And we can. Speaking of, you have a shirt, and Crystal has a shirt, and coming up next weekend, somebody else is going to have a Grassman shirt. So we're gonna expand the club a little bit.
Right on.
I'm
Heck
gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna give away another shirt. So
Is there a contest for it, or is there
I'm doing Christmas in July.
Christmas in July? Right on.
Yep. Our
Heck yeah.
Christmas got messed up with me being sick, and then Trees got another job, and we didn't do the show, and It was just like, so I'm like, we got to have a Christmas show. So I'm just going to do a Christmas show in July because that's what some things do, you know, Christmas sale in July or whatever they have. So
Right?
I'm going to talk about the Yeti, the abominable snowman, and then the Yuki Ono, who is a Japanese snow woman, because you got to have snowman and snow woman, right? So I'm gonna do those.
Right? Why have I never heard of the Snow Woman? What did they call her again?
It's the Yuki Ono.
The Yuki Ono. Interesting.
Yukki Onna. Yuki Ono, but you say it like Uno. Yuki Uno.
Yuki Ono.
Yeah. It's it's similar to a lot of like ghost stories, you know, where the young woman died in a snowstorm and haunts the mountains type thing, you know. But yeah, I was thinking,
Right on.
yeah, snowman. Hey, so I went looking for a snow woman story, and I I came across the Japanese legend. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Got a snowman and a snow woman. You know, it's like when you build a snowman in your yard. Well, I don't know if you build a snowman in your yard, but up here, if you build a snowman in your yard, a lot of people build the snow woman, right? So
I've only gotten to build 2 snowmen in my entire life. And the tallest one that we ever made was like shoulder height to me. So it was probably like about 5 foot or maybe a little bit less.
we got on the animal kick the one year. I think I made a big turtle in the yard or something.
Oh, heck yeah.
One year we made the igloo, you know, like the round, you know, looking, you know, typical igloo thing. But yeah, with the climate change though, we just don't see the snow up here like we used to. When I was a kid, we had feet of snow to play with. So
Yeah, I thought Ohio did like got like feet like you could yeah. I always thought of it as being a very cold winter place. But it hasn't been that way for y'all here recently, huh?
not, especially not in my area. Like if you get over on the eastern half, you can get lake effect and everything. You know, that's where you get Cleveland, Buffalo, New York. You know, they always get all that snow because it goes over the lake. But I'm on the other side, so the last couple years, literally, I mean, it was mostly like throwing a little salt on the front steps just because of, you know, icing a slushy type thing or whatever. But as far as digging out or anything, the last storm we had, there was one coming, and I said, I'm getting a snow thrower. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm dealing with this. So I bought a snow thrower and I used it. Good thing, because we did get a storm. I haven't used it since, and we've barely touched the shovels. I mean, for the little dusting we get, yeah, you just throw a little salt out, it's gone. You know? So it's really weird. And my buddy in Florida, last year, I think it was, they didn't get hardly any rain in Florida.
Now that is odd, because
You know?
I have had moments where I have stayed some significant periods of time, and it was like in between 4 and 6 o'clock every freaking night it would rain. Even just a little bit, it would rain.
Well, remember Hawaii, was it Maui or whatever island had the fires? That's Hawaii. I mean, it's supposed to rain like every day,
Yeah.
you know. And then, you know, the joke is you just cover everything up for a minute and then it's gone and you go on about the beautiful weather, you know. But they had drought conditions on a tropical island. There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
people
that
like to
happens
joke.
to be one
Go ahead.
um that the this information that I've been going over. The lady has a podcast, The Happiness Lab, and that was the last one that I did watch, was about climate change and how uh, why is it that, you know, there's so many people who don't think that it is a legitimate thing, and the reason why people like people are more um, apt to, you know, like the thing has to be actually how did they put that? It has to be something that uh, like you can physically interact with, but whenever it's something that is slowly changing, like you can adapt to these changes, and like you don't think of them as being a threat as much. I'm saying this not as well put as the podcast put it, but um, it was the reason why there's so many people who are don't think
It
it's
was
legit.
it's like when they had the smog problem. People just it slowly built up, and yeah, it wasn't noticeable until they couldn't see across the street, and then they were like, "Hey, wait a minute, what's?" So yeah, you can deny until you just literally can't see across the street. So
Which is unfortunate because at that point in time, that's whenever it is, you know, it's reached the point of no return, basically. Like, you're in it then, you know?
all that, with a lot of these things, I say we didn't. I, I joke often that we didn't take a lot of pollution seriously until the Cuyahoga River caught on fire. When water caught on fire, people are like, wait a minute, there's something wrong. Until then, all that stuff pouring out of the drains everywhere into the rivers and streams, and it was like, that's part of progress. But what do you do when water's on fire? What do you put it out with? That was one of those ones where people were like, wait a minute, we can't have water on fire, right? We can't have water on fire. So, yeah, we get to that point, and it takes, sadly, yeah, these, and then it's just that much more of a mess to clean up and all down the line. And like you're saying, with most people, well, yeah, you got to turn up the heat, you got to turn up the air conditioning, whatever. People that are going to feel it more will be farmers, people that live by the coasts, and then people that live in countries that don't have HVAC, and the poorer countries and stuff. They're going to feel it a lot harder. We won't. We won't.
Yeah.
We'll get a wake up
There's
call
just
if we
so
don't.
much information and data.
Yeah. It would take something like the Dust Bowl here, where we would have some crop failures or something where, it would just be all over the news, the stuff's dying in the fields, for people to maybe take notice that, because we kind of have that same trend going, that same, what it, I don't know what the term is, but let's call it like a jet stream. There's that path out in the Midwest there, and they say with the climate change, it could do the same thing like with the Dust Bowl. It can come through that same area there and dry everything all out. And that's where a lot of the farms are. So
You're breaking up on my end. Moment.
Internet demons.
I missed a good section. Yeah, the internet demons.
I was just saying, yeah, if we had a crop failure or something here, that would be a big wake up call. And it would hurt the rich too, because it would affect the trading. They trade wheat and corn and everything, and it would be across the board. Everybody would be concerned, because even the folks that are just trading stock and stuff are gonna be like, hey, I ain't making no money on corn, it all died, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen, though. Do something before that happens.
Yeah. You and me both. You and me both.
Always
Because
have
there's
some hope.
just way too much overwhelming data.
Oh yeah. Other. Yeah, that. Well, that a lot of us debate a lot of these topics with people that just have terrible arguments for everything, and climate change is just one more. Their arguments are all terrible. My favorite is, if climate change is real, why did Obama buy a house by the beach? And my reply is, you mean that one that's up on a hill? I don't think he's worried about any water coming up. It's on a hill. It's the people that aren't on hills that are going to have a problem. And you're going to have humanitarian problems, right? Like, again, even if most of the world can overcome it, with technology and everything else, if the crops fail in the poorer countries, well, guess where they're going to go looking for food, right? So you're going to have a humanitarian crisis, even if the more industrialized countries can handle the whatever, growing crops inside or whatever they had to do. There's still people that basically rely on their little family farms for their sustenance, and that's a humanitarian crisis right there. And we are going to have to deal with it one way or another. So. Well, speaking of, you're in Texas, right? You got all the migrant caravans sneaking through your property, or what?
Never, not once have I ever seen a migrant crossing my property. Not one time.
Watch the news, you would think Texas was overrun.
Right. I tell you what, that is one thing that has probably added to my more stable state of mind, is like cutting that pretty much out of my content that I listen and watch. I really don't really know too much about what the news is saying about anything anymore, because it can get really distressing at times. Like, there was a period of time where I was trying to keep up with everything, all the current events and things like that, and it was adding stress to my life. And a lot of it I can't really do too much about it. I would love to. I would love to be able to, help mitigate some of that. But most of it I can't really do much about.
I don't really watch much news, but I've got, with all the different social media feeds, I'm seeing the headlines and stuff, so You know, it's a time saver. You know, like I can sit here and talk with you, and then you can see the little things popping off. You know, breaking news or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay. You know, as I said earlier, Bob Newhart came across. Bob Newhart died and came across, and it's like, ah, you know, and but I'm not looking for it. It just comes right across, you know. And then a little while later, Lou Dobbs came across. Lou Dobbs died, news broadcaster. So, yeah, the headlines, you know, they pop in on the social media, so I can keep up without having to actually watch the cable news nonstop, 24/7. Yeah, you get hooked into that, and yeah, you need to turn it off because it's just, and they hook you with things, you know. Don't leave because in the next hour, you know, and they just keep you hooked there. And I like
And
my
there's an
feeds.
algorithm that is keeping up with everything that we pay attention to. Like I've been really into electric motorcycles, and I've been
Hmm.
learning a lot about those. And now I see it in everywhere I go, like the Facebook, or anytime like I'm on Google and I'm on that home page. Now it brings up all the brands that I've been looking at and checking out. Like it's keeping track of everything that we pay attention to, and then it'll put it in everywhere else
Yeah, but they
that
like to
you
put
go.
up stuff that you just bought. It's like, you know, like, oh, you just bought a new car. Here's a bunch of ads for new cars, you know, and it's like, I just bought a new car. I don't need the ads now,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. It's
it's out of order. It's out of order. Get your events straight. Yeah, I've been really trying to be more mindful how I use social media. I have not been um, like doom scrolling. I've heard it called doom scrolling, like where you just sit there and you scroll through a feed of, whatever platform it is that you enjoy. And I have found myself where I'm like supposed to be doing something else. Like I want to go take a shower, but now I've spent an hour going through scrolling through a page because something keeps on catching my attention, and then um, I'm distracted.
I do.
So
That's
I've
what
really tried to become mindful of that and limit
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll do that too. Get up and having tea and kind of looking around through stuff and everything, yeah, and dilly dally in, and then Michael sent me a message and, hey, you want to do a stream? And it's like, oh crap, I gotta go run in the shower real quick. Yeah, still sitting here in my underwear. Yeah, hey, give me a minute. Yeah, I feel you. Again, you get hooked. You know, I'll just look at one more, and I'll just look at one more cat video, and I'll just look at one more motorcycle video or whatever. Yeah,
Man, those e-bikes are pretty badass. Like 72 volts, a battery that puts out 72 volts, and a 3,000 watt motor. Man, you can reach some speeds that are about 70 miles per hour, and or if you're not full throttle, you can make some distances that are freaking badass. I think it's even the one that uh, that I like the most has a 52-volt battery and can travel up to 200 miles. I mean, there's different factors that make it to where it can be able to travel that far, but it has the capability to be able to travel 200 freaking miles on a single charge.
I've seen a few videos where they were taking them and giving them their paces and going, doing city, doing off road. The one even had a little gizmo he hooked up so he could ride old railroad tracks.
Oh, shit.
A little guide that kept him on, and then a little bar that goes across, to keep, upright, basically, from off the other track. And yeah, zoom, there he went off, chasing down these old railroad tracks.
Wow, that's an intriguing idea. Although it would suck if you're on a still used train track and
Yeah, I don't think you really can do that. But some of these old abandoned things, I don't think they really care. So, and there's a lot of them. So,
huh.
it was pretty neat. Just a little, yeah, a little click around thing, kind of like a roller coaster, where where it would, it kind of clicks around. So you're on one, your bike stays on the one rail. And then a little kick out bar with a little runner wheel that goes over on the other track, and yeah, off down the railroad tracks. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, but I bet you could definitely put some miles on it for sure, because that's a nice smooth track, and an electric vehicle would be able to travel with ease on that. I think it's called the Maglev train, where it's magnetic, but it's also, it's using electricity, it's using electric motors,
Right.
and those are very impressive as well. I don't see why that's not been implemented more, because there's a lot of railroad tracks still around here, and they still use them.
It's expensive, and it's a lot of technology, and we don't even have high speed rail yet. So I mean, we can't keep low speed rail from falling off the tracks. So we need to take care of that problem first. It would be nice to have some high speed rail. A lot of other countries have them, and people buzz between cities. And they love it, but our infrastructure here needs a lot of work in a lot of areas first. And with all the speaking of the climate change, they're examining all the dams, with some of these dams that have breached and been damaged in some of these storms lately. They're bringing up something I didn't know, is most of the dams in this country are privately owned. So,
oh wow,
the government's not checking on them or nothing. Okay, so if you got a dam in your area, you might want to find out, who actually manages it, because back in the day, a lot of them are leftovers from plants and stuff. Textile plants and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, actually, that was something that I saw in my news feed. They grabbed my attention, was Lake Livingston's dam. Although it was built by the Army of Engineers, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but it was built by them. But it is failing right now. They're worried about it being able to do its job anymore. And that, if Lake Livingston's dam fails, there's oh man, talk about a mess. Lake Livingston is pretty big.
Yeah, it's the Army Corps of Engineers. You were
yes,
pretty close.
That's it.
And when Schwarzenegger was governor in California, how many years ago, he was trying to bring to light how many of their dams and levees are nothing but earth. Okay, it's just dirt. There's no reinforcement in it. There's no concrete. There's no nothing. So once anything like that gets even a little soggy from too much rain or anything, it's really at its limits of trying to hold anything back. And Yeah, you're talking again about areas with a lot of people, and again, sadly, sometimes something has to happen before they do anything. But hopefully, something's done because yeah, that's a big problem. But they are offering. I'm not sure if it's the same as the one you're talking about, but some of the privately held ones, the government is offering assistance in removing the dam, some of these smaller ones and stuff. So, yeah, instead of trying to worry about if it's going to hold or anything, they'll come in and they'll just take it out and restore it back to how it used to be. And I've heard there is a thing where they have restored a lot of these old dams. So there is a program, but there's a lot of them out there. Like you talking about data, you don't realize how many dams there are until you look it up, and you're like, holy moly! In fact, let's see. Let's see what it says. We have more than 100,000 dams.
And these are like legit freaking
Well, that's including some other territories within the continental United States, according to the Army Corps Engineers. 91,804 dams. And then there's about, a few hundred in like places like, Puerto Rico, or you know what I mean, or places like Guam and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, so yeah, give or take 100,000. That's a lot of dams. Yeah, was that let's see, 100,000 by 50 states is what? Yeah, it's 2,000. Okay, you got, yeah, all right, 2,000 dams in each state on average.
wow.
That's a lot of dams. And most of those, again, are privately held and are in poor shape. And the ones that are government held, whatever the term is, they're not in any better shape either. So,
Yeah. They're, questionable.
it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Thankfully, I'm in an area where it's not going to affect me, but I know a lot of family and friends who are downstream of that. Like there's Cleveland that's a much lower elevation that is somewhat near. It's about like 50 miles away from me. Like that will get totally flooded out, and there's the a really nice area that they've built up that will be affected by by Lake Livingston. When we had a really bad storm, it started to fill up too much, and they had to let out a lot of water. And there was some buildings, the water reached definitely well above 8 feet. 12 foot may be a little bit over exaggerating, but it was somewhere in between 8 and 12 feet. Some of these places just completely were nearly submerged, like just the rooftops were showing at these places.
I was talking. I hang out over at Answers in Atheism with Mike and Scott.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mike's got a river nearby, but it's usually like off in the distance. And with all the storms they had recently, it was I don't know what he said, maybe 40 feet up or something. It was some outrageous number. And yeah, it was a lot closer to his house than it used to be. Fortunately, yeah, I asked. He said he's up on a high area and everything. But yeah, and then where was it? There was a railroad bridge that got taken out, and it was like 40, 50 feet above the water or whatever, and the river raised right up and then just washed it right out. So there's some of these things, people don't understand with the climate change. You can have these big storms that are going to cause these floods and stuff too, and that will, that can affect you almost anywhere. People just don't think, like you're saying, if you can't see it, and if it's not really affecting you directly, and it's gradual, but these things are building up, and the storms, the more powerful storms with the hurricanes, the rainstorms, the snowstorms, any of them can be more severe with the climate change stuff. So
yeah,
we're talking about the jet streams and everything, and they get all crazy, and you don't know what's going to happen.
We're really bad at taking warnings. People are historically have made so many mistakes, and they were being warned. They're being told, hey, this is it's not going good. Hey, look at this. Check this out. This is not good. If it keeps on going like this, then these said circumstances are going to happen. I think the Titanic is one of the examples that can be used. The captain was being warned, hey, we're going too fast or something like that. They were being warned that, hey, we're not doing things correctly. And they just thought that the ship was too big and too indestructible, and they got proved wrong. But there's a bunch of other instances too that have happened throughout history. We're just horrible. People are horrible at taking warnings.
Oh yeah, when you look back at history, that's one of the biggest things. You look back and why didn't people see this is coming? Why didn't they do something about this? And it's all hindsight.
And sadly, a lot of the times there was whistleblowers. There were people going, hey,
I told you so.
This ain't going good.
Remember me? I told you so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's every disaster movie starts out with some scientist warning them about something's going to happen, and nobody's listening to them.
Yeah, Jurassic Park just popped into my mind, and that one character, I can't remember his name right now. He's the scientist who's been invited along, and he's like, y'all are messing with something you shouldn't be messing with.
Goldblum.
Goldblum, yeah. Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he knew right away. You're not supposed to be doing this. He's the one that said, life finds a way. That's my curiosity about the universe, is does life find a way everywhere? That's something that would be a discovery I would like to know before I die, that they find a microbe somewhere, or that somewhere out there there can be the chance for life out there because we found it somewhere else. That would be neat.
I would bet on it. I would bet that there is, like, if there was a way to verify it.
Right, everything points to it, but
there is a way to verify it. I would bet on it.
Yeah, you want to see that. microbe or whatever it is under a microscope, you know, from one of the moons of Saturn or Jupiter or something. Yeah, yeah. You want them to find just that one microbe out there, and it can't be in any way that, you know, it was contamination or anything. It's unlike anything else. You know, it's just totally 100% verifiable that it's nope. This thing was on this planet before we came here. That would be amazing.
I think it's tardigrades. They can survive in the vacuum of space.
Yeah, I'm looking for one. I bought myself a microscope, and when I get the chance, I grab some moss. And I found a bunch of other critters. I haven't found a tardigrade yet, but I'm on a mission to find one. So
Awesome.
yeah, I've got a microscope with a camera and everything, and but you know, it's everybody that talks about finding them. You know, it's just it's luck. You know, you're looking at a drop of water on each microscope slide, right? So it could be in the other drop of water that you didn't put on the microscope slide. That's, you know, it's just. But
How
yeah,
many buckets of water would you have to go through before you found one?
Yeah, yeah. So I did find a rotifer. A rotifer is pretty neat. It's a little critter that's kind of looks like a little crawdad maybe type thing or something. You know, it's got these little arms and it's got its little mouth, and it's just, you know, kicking all that. The reason I saw it was I had a current going on my microscope slide, right?
Like an electric current?
No, like all the little specks were moving around, like a water current.
Oh.
And I'm like, why is everything moving around on the slide, you know? And then it was because this one big critter, right? He was doing his thing. What do they call it? I guess it's filter feeding almost. You know, they're just pulling all the little things by their mouth parts, right? And in doing that, yeah, he was causing a little circular rotation was going around. And of course, it was advantageous because everything's floating around, you know, coming right back at it. And it's just sitting there munching away. And then I was looking at another slide I made, and I spotted two of them on another slide. So I have found some rotifers. They're pretty neat though, dudes.
Very cool. That is very cool.
And wash your hands, because if you don't know what can live in a drop of water, you don't really want to know then, because it's amazing. Some of the things I looked at, there's thousands easily, probably way more than that. There's probably tens of thousands of these little specks swimming around in one drop of water. It's just amazing how many things can be alive in one drop of water. And the one thing I got was off of a tree, and the entire slide was just wiggling. There was nowhere in the drop of water that it wasn't wiggling. So if you've ever put your hand on a tree, trust me, you've got hundreds of thousands of wiggly things all over your hand.
Well, that makes me grateful that that's something that can go on my list, that I am a hand washer. I wash my hands. I even though I'm prepping food for myself, I even try not to touch it as little as possible. If it is possible for me to not touch it, I will not touch it. But I am a hand washer. I like to keep my hands clean, and you are giving me some evidence that just touching a tree can have all kinds of things in that.
Yep,
Yeah.
just If you just put, you just stand there talking and you lean up against a tree, put your hand up against it, or and anything, and it's just teeming with tiny little, and it's odds are most of those things really aren't going to bother you, but you can pick up that one little wrong little amoeba or something, and all of a sudden you're deathly ill. And yet you talking about eating bad food, you don't even have to eat bad food. All you have to do is touch the wrong thing, not wash your hands, and somehow that gets near your mouth or your eyes, and now they're in you.
And it is
It's
no
fascinating.
joke. That
It's
is one of the most painful experiences I have ever had in my entire life. Is having what seems like a foodborne illness.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
stomach problems are one of the worst. When I had mine, everybody told me, "Dude, get to the hospital," because the pain was so intense right in there. They said, "You want to make sure you're not having a heart attack." Luckily, it was my stomach, but it hurt so bad. I was worried that maybe I was having a heart attack. It's no joke. You got that big nerve there, that same big nerve that makes a heart attack hurt so bad is why stomach aches hurt so bad. There's that big nerve right in the middle there. And everybody knows, there's certain parts of your body that are less sensitive than others, right? And it's because of proximity to those nerves. So or a back pain. I pulled my back a month or so ago. Oh my, that's a whole other level of pain too, when it pulls on your spine and it just takes your breath away. It's like, woof. And then you have those moments, and then you kind of realize that people that have to deal with these things chronically all the time, right? It's like, that's just got to be horrible.
I've only had it one time where, and mine only lasted like a couple of weeks, if that, where I had back pain because I lifted a fucking tree log that I should not have been messing with in the first damn place, but I picked it up wrong, and that's very uncomfortable. It was hard to get comfortable. At least that's how I remember it.
I couldn't get perfectly vertical for a couple of days. It was just, I had the muscle was so tight, and then it felt like it wanted to crack, where I could almost get all the way straight, but I couldn't, quite get that last little bit. And I had learned years ago when I had hurt my back in physical therapy, all the stretches and everything. So I literally I had to scooch myself up onto the bed little by little, slowly get onto the bed, and then, turn over and start doing my stretches and everything. The second day, I was bringing, you bring your knees up to your chest, that old stretch, And when I was putting my legs back down, something said pop, and I was like, oh please. And I stood up and I was able to get all the way vertical, and I was like, oh, it's just to be
Relief, huh?
Yeah, quote, air quote, normal again, right? Just being able to stand up without carefully, you know what I mean? Where you stand up, right? You're sitting down, you stand up. You just stand up. But when you can't do that, where you have to use your hands to get yourself up, and then you kind of have to be hunched over, and then straighten yourself up, put your hand on the doorway, and it's like, I'm just trying to stand up.
Yeah.
That's when you appreciate, just you put that on your list, when just not having those things bothering you, not being ill, and then talk about your stomach problems. So I called the doctor and I said, Doc, I was like taking these ibuprofens and they're just bothering my stomach. Well, he gives me some stuff for my hand inflammation, and he says, well, I like, without seeing you, and of course I couldn't go see him. I couldn't even hardly get up out of my chair, right? So my only other option would be, go to the emergency room or something. So he said, well, I'll give you these things. So I'm taking the anti-inflammatories. Well, then my stomach got all upset. So then I had my back is all out. And then my stomach was all upset and bothering me. And I was like,
Oh man.
I'm in bad shape here. I got it in the front and I got it in the back. What am I going to do,
Oh man.
So that was, yeah.
Take it easy. Hey yo, what's up, BS Lewis? Good evening.
Hello, BS. How you doing? We're talking about getting old and having aches and pains.
It was some months ago that I had
That's what I was saying. When I hurt my back the first time, I was a young man. So you can do stupid stuff when you're young too. So.
Right. Yeah. No, one of the times I did have a back injury too was whenever I was in my teens. I was doing a board slide down a parking block that was set on top of stairs, and that's whenever you have the board onto the thing that you're sliding on, and it like slipped out from underneath me, and I sat on the parking block and right on my freaking tailbone. That was another pretty intense pain.
I fractured my tailbone when I was young too. I thought I was going to have to ask my mommy to help me wipe my butt because it was all I could do to take care of business in the bathroom myself, because your tailbone's such a core to everything,
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't move, you can't bend, you can't straighten, you just kind of stuck, and it's like I made it to the toilet, but then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't I can't reach.
Oh no.
And I'm just literally tears coming out of my eyes trying to reach, and I'm like, am I gonna have the obvious, this when I was young, am I gonna have to call for my mommy to wipe my butt? Miserable. Oh, that was horrible.
You just reminded me, I saw a comedian, and she is I don't know how to describe. She is a little person, but she's a particular type of person, and not only are they very short, but her arms are much shorter than it's not a correct ratio to her body. So she actually has to have a stick with a little like hand thingy to be able to wipe her own ass. I wish I could remember her joke the way she told it. She was very funny. But that had never crossed my mind. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, what would you do then if your arms are too short for your bodies?
Eat a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stick it where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, but well, everybody knows, when you don't feel good or you have an injury or whatever, and when it's over, you're just, you have that moment where it's just, you appreciate the little things for a moment. You just appreciate, the stomach not hurting, or the migraine not hurting, or, whatever the knee injury or whatever you had fixed, yeah, those are the little moments where just a moment of normalcy is just be very appreciative.
Yeah, having good health is definitely something that is one of the things you can be grateful for. In fact, it is the thing that is on this particular list that I wrote
I see it.
some weeks ago was at the top of my list. That was one thing I could be grateful for. Um, because being in pain, oh man, it's exhausting. It's mentally taxing as well. You
Yeah,
just
and
want it to end.
I'm not one to run for pain pills and stuff. I always told myself to save that for when you're old and you're really going to need it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I tend to, try to stretch things and do a heating pad and, all the good old fashioned things, before I try to turn to any medications, because so many people, they build up tolerance to these things and they work less and less. And when you really need it, it's not gonna have the same effect. The last time I took a pain pill, I was in La La Land, right? And some of your more hardcore types were kind of laughing at me for being so loopy off of one pain pill. But hey, that's what you want. You know what I mean? When you're in that pain, you want to be that loopy to have that relief.
Yep.
There's
It's that hedonic adaptation. That was one of the things I was talking about at the beginning of this stream, was how we can become used to things, and then you want, especially pain pills, you definitely want those to work whenever yeah, that time comes.
there's a Facebook
I am the same way.
there's a Facebook post somewhere with my unshaven face and a blankie and everything. It was after I had some emergency surgery, and I was in awful pain. And yeah, the pain pills are kicking in. I kind of got that stupid look on my face, and I was just checking in with everybody, saying, "Hey, yeah, I'm feeling all right now. Just letting everybody know, surgery went okay, and yeah, I'm nice and stoned, and yeah, I had that stupid stone face, and when when you're not looking your best, you haven't shaved and your hair's messed up, whatever, but." Yeah, you can see that happy, goofy look in the face, though, where it's like, no pain, no, I'm not feeling any pain anymore. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, well, just recently I had a tooth go bad, right? And I woke up and it was bothering me. I said, I got to call the dentist. They said, how about this afternoon? I said, how about a little earlier? I said, okay, so they got me in a little earlier, right? So while I'm sitting there in the chair, I could literally feel my face swelling up, right? And the pain started setting in. And the dentist came in and he said, well, it's going to have to get pulled. It's already been fixed before. It's gone bad, right? I was like, well, pull it out, man. He's like, well, I don't really have the experience, but his new partner, she has experience. She's like, she can pull it for you. We don't have to send you anywhere. And I'm like, all right. But, she's taking care of a patient and everything. I'm like, dude, I'm dying here. So he goes, well, I could shoot you up. And then, you can, I had to kill an hour or so or whatever before she could, take care of me, I was like, oh, yeah, So, yeah, he gave me a little Novocaine and numbed it up. And, yeah, just with, it, as soon as he gives me the shot, Novocaine's pretty quick, So it just, ooh, and the throbbing went, and it was just like, I hugged him. I literally gave him a hug, and he said, my dad doesn't even hug me in public. But I was just like, I was so thankful that he could give me that little shot of Novocaine, right? And again, now just imagine, 100 years or so ago, right? You know, the misery I would have been in, right? Yeah, they can just give you a little shot of Novocaine and just, oh, just so, yeah, so grateful for modern medicine. And, like when I had my surgery, it was, microsurgery. I was in and out, and I was back home in a couple hours. That's how amazing it is. It's yeah. You think, gee whiz, this wasn't that long ago. How did people deal with just these minor things? Forget the major things. They're just minor things like toothaches and stuff. It's just wow.
Oh man, it was horrible back at, like, from what I've seen. And I'm gonna say something about B.S. Lewis here real quick. I would say it's a compliment, dude. I've always enjoyed the content that you produce and the style, your cartoon that you have going through, dude. Yeah, I would take it as a compliment. But yeah, like how they have to deal with that in the medieval days. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now there's a bull reference, in my video there. So I think that's where he's getting the BS. I made a new intro video, and I said with a skeptic's view. And when I do the skeptic's view, I had the bull on the toilet just kind of flash on real quick to kind of give the BS reference. So yeah, I was like, I wanted a new video because I was on with Joe over the Kentucky Atheist, and he had Peter on, and of course everybody knows Peter does producing and everything for a lot of channels and everything, and everybody was running their videos by him, getting some input, right? And I said, well, hey, what do you think of my intro video? And he said, hey, I like how, it's nothing fancy, but he kind of liked, the setup and everything. But he said the music could be a little more upbeat. And I was like, well, I asked for the criticism, and this is the person to ask. So I jazzed up the beat a little bit, a little jazzier and a little louder and more bum 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 bum, type of things. So looking forward next time I get the opportunity, and maybe if he's over with Joe or something again, see what he thinks. So I put out a video, and it was all right. And but a couple of people said, oh, you got to tweak the audio a little bit. Deconverted Man said, I can do a better Photoshop on your desk pick and that. So I got some help for some folks, and this and that. I put out a couple more versions, but the latest version now I think is the one. So it's tweaked. It's got some better photoshopping and cleaned it up a little bit, fixed a little fancier audio on it and everything. So, but yeah, I stuck the. That's one of my favorite things to use in my videos. Whenever I call bullshit, I pull the little bull sitting on the toilet image up on there. So, because I try not to cuss, when I'm on my channel, right? So, it's kind of my thing, right? But sometimes you want to call bullshit. So, yeah, I use the little, the bull on the toilet thing, or sometimes I borrow somebody else like George Carlin, and I'll throw a George Carlin video in there that says something like, that's fucking stupid, because it's kind of my loophole of getting around, me not cussing.
George Carlin and his 7 words, that skit, that
classic.
Yeah, it's one of his classic ones, for sure.
I've got a couple go-tos. I've got a cartoon where he says, "Say what?" And I've got the Hank Hill where they're all going, "Yep, yep, uh-huh, yep." So yeah, there's certain ones that make reappearances in my videos because sometimes you just need that little emphasis, you know. So, and Bob Newhart, he just passed away today. He's in one of my videos when he yells, "Stop it!" And I've got one I've been wanting to use, but I haven't had the opportunity yet. In the Indiana Jones, the Holy Grail, when they finally get to the cave, you know, and all the grails are there to pick from, and the
Choose
bad guy,
wisely.
yeah, choose wisely, and he obviously he didn't, and the knight says he chose poorly. I have that clip. I've been waiting to use it. It's in. I've got it ready to go, but
It's locked and loaded, huh?
yeah, I'm waiting for the right comeback for it. But it's going to be in a video sooner or later. The person's just got to say the right thing to make it work. Oh, and I've used a couple SpongeBob's. SpongeBob's a good one to go. He's got quite a few exclamations and stuff. And Super Troopers, that's in one of my videos. When they're doing the repeat. You want to do the repeat? Do you want to do the repeat?
Heck yeah. Right on.
BS has awesome animation talents. I'm not at that level. And he was talking one day. He puts like a month into a video.
Wow.
I believe it. It's just with some of the little editing that I do, I can spend a day or two just cutting stuff up and putting it together. So I can just imagine with all the animation. It's
I have tried doing some animations. I do have some animations that I have done, and they take for, like, I remember it took well over a week, and I was only trying to do a project that would be less than a week, and it ended up only being like 30 or 40 seconds long, and it took forever. I was like, well, need to kind of rethink of how I'm going to do some of this stuff.
I was talking to Mark Reed about editing and stuff, and he says, well, you get into that loop because the more stuff you learn, the more stuff you want to do, you know, and then you want to do all the refining, you know, you start instead of the rough jump cuts, you know, you want to make those nice smooth cuts. So you're going back in there and you're shaving off, you know, just that little bit so it's not so jumpy, you know. And then, oh, wait a minute, I can fix this and make this a little better. And then, oh, well, while I'm at it, I might as well do this because this will look a lot better if I do this. So yeah, so the more you learn, you're just adding, and then it's just the more things you're doing. And no matter how you do it, even when you learn the time savers, you're learning other things to add on to it. So you didn't save any time because you're doing all this extra stuff. See, it gives you a lot of appreciation for everybody doing, you know, so many people that do so many awesome videos that, yeah, they need a lot more credit for all the work they do. 3 months on a 9-second short,
Wow.
24 frames a second. I know Paula Gia said his videos are a full-time job. For a 20-30 minute video, yeah, it's about an hour a minute for his video. So it's like a 40-hour week to do one of his little shorty videos.
Wow.
And yeah, and he doesn't have full animation. You know, he's just got some animation, and then the rest is, you know, editing video. So, and that's still, yeah, that's full time. So yeah, I can believe it, BS. I always like when BS has a new video out. It's like, oh boy, BS videos. It's always a surprise. He'll keep you guessing. That's one thing. He does have a style, but he has a uniqueness to every video too. That's really neat. I know he puts a lot of time into it. I'm gonna grab me a pop. I'll be right back.
Actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and
Gonna wrap it up.
yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up
All right.
and get me.
Because I'm out of pop.
Oh, can't run out of that now.
Well,
But
hey, it's
thank
great-
you for joining
Yeah.
me.
great
Much
talking to you,
appreciated.
Tobin. Yeah.
Likewise.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again soon. All right.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm
All right,
talking
man.
about. Absolutely.
All right.
Good night, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out, and I'll
Night,
catch y'all on
everybody.
the flip side. Laters, y'all.
All right, Tobin. You have a good one.